so many things.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of my trip to Japan. Last week we explored the Ghibli store. Today I'm taking you to a different store called Hands. It's a big department store and they have all sorts of things for household, kitchen, gardening, and also stationery and art supplies. There are Hands stores in different big cities in Japan. I went to the one in Osaka directly at the station. The store is not freestanding, but inside another department store, in this case Daimaru, and it's on the 10th, 11th, and 12th floor. Here you can see a whole swoop across the stationery and art supplies floor. It's tradition in Japan to send New Year's cards, and because I visited in November, the cards were already out for display. 2025 is the year of the snake, so you'll see a lot of these motifs, but there were also a few other ones, like this Snoopy one. So cute. Of course, they also have a great selection of other cards. And famously, they have tons of stickers. These are vinyl ones, the B-side label, which is pretty popular in Japan. There was also a whole shelf of different types of washi tape and washi tape boxes, and then a whole bunch of journals and planners and travel journals.
So many things. Just the pen section alone is enormous.
Yeah, there are a lot of different types of pens, felt tipped pens and pencils and ball pens and markers and mechanical pencils. There was a whole bunch of neon colored fluorescent pens that caught my attention right away. And then I headed over to the acrylic markers. Here's one, the pink one here, that I didn't know. It's called Procky. I just thought the shape was kind of interesting. And then over here we have Posca pens that you probably know. Here in this basket they have pens and markers that you can try out, and I saw a few that were totally new to me, these juice paints, so I decided to grab a few of those. And just when I thought I was done with that section, I found these really cute Ghibli stamps and also these cute stamp pads, which I already have, but I still had to get those. There was also a bunch of wall calendars, really beautiful, especially the ones with the Japanese designs.
The stationery section is huge, but there's also art supplies.
Compared to the stationery section, the art supply area was much smaller. However, I had tons of fun looking around here due to the fact that there are, of course, a lot of things made in Japan and also pretty difficult to get outside of Japan. I saw some beautiful watercolors. These ones here are by Kuretake, and interestingly enough, there was not a lot in the paper section or sketchbook section. There were, however, which I found interesting, my favorite art creation, Royal Talens sketchbooks, and they even had the ones with the white, pure white pages, the ones here with the cork cover. There was some fabric paint over here, and of course there was a whole calligraphy section with calligraphy brushes, and then more watercolors and brush pens. So these are brush pens with real bristles, and they come in all these gorgeous colors, and they're water soluble, so they kind of work like watercolors. And then down here we have a watercolor brand that's, I don't think, very known outside of Japan. And I had a hard time figuring out how to open the drawers, and I finally did it. So these are called Shiso, and the colors are just gorgeous. And I actually ended up buying 3 colors. very helpful. They put a bunch of swatch cards here on the side so you can decide more easily on what colors to purchase. Another really interesting section for me were the colored pencils. You know that I love to combine watercolors and colored pencils. And it's fascinating to me how many colored pencils were available that I had never heard of before, or that aren't, I don't think, available outside of Japan. Like these Mitsubishi Uniball colored pencils, or even some colored pencils by Holbein. So yeah, I couldn't resist, and I bought a couple of pencils, the ones that I had never used before and were curious about. They also had a bunch of sets available, but personally for me, because I tend to use the same colors and then also tend to not use certain colors at all, it makes more sense to me to buy them single. Another of my very favorite mediums is acrylic gouache, and I do love these ones by Turner, and I love that they have suggestions for which colors to combine. So I got a couple of these paints as well. At this point I was getting a little bit tired because I had spent what felt like already the whole day in the store. And even though there were so many more things to explore, like these beautiful fountain pen inks, I thought, okay, this is it. This is good for the day.
In next week's video, I'm gonna start a new sketchbook by Maruman. That's a Japanese company, and I got the sketchbook at the Hands store. And I am also, of course, using all my new art supplies I bought there. Until then, happy creating and aloha!